Okay, so since we're talking about buildings, we'll go to another question about buildings. So who's next? Shorty gets to start this one off. What is your vision for the development and utilization of the armory?
That it's used for community events. We have one. Oh, no. I'm just having one that hooked to my head. That it's used for community events. You know, it was changed hands, well, committees a couple of times. I want to say it never changed hands, it changed committees. And before, I rented it for an event for $35 for all day long. Well, we were having our Halloween celebration, which was on Halloween. We were calling for rain, so the second committee had it. We tried to rent it. They said $75. Then it cost, so that's for 2 hours. I said, well, I needed 4 hours. Hour to set up, hour to tear down. Then they wanted extra for the mats, they wanted extra for the kitchen. And I'm like, this is supposed to be a community event, not a money-making scheme. I don't want it to be a money-making scheme. I want it to be where everybody from Little League, basketball, to community events, to it's not very acoustic, I would say, concerts or whatnot, but sometimes you give people a hubcap and they think they're big one. You know, you have to put the right people in charge of that so that it will be fairly across the board.
Okay, I'd like to see the armory more diversity in the utilization. I'd like to see more community using it. We have reset, there's a new fee schedule, there's a comprehensive fee schedule and a schedule that, enables organizations who are not-for-profit, not charging for their programs to use it without paying fees, versus somebody who is charging fees and making money, they need to pay fees. It just needs to be more widely used so that we can maintain it. Know that the town is paying for the upkeep on that building, so we have to make money to maintain the actual building, but I would like to see it used more widely by the community.
I too believe that it should be something for the local community use and keep doing things that will foster that. Part of the development is it does need some money. The rental rate's probably not going to be enough to cover that, but as long as the town owns it, I think we move forward with developing. Some of the major problems that has, it needs a roof. It needs new windows. And that's kind of, the windows and doors are kind of tied into the heating and cooling of the facility. So that all makes the facility nicer to use, but I'm guessing, is it listed for sale with the high school?
It is listed on that parcel.
Okay, so as long as we have control over, I think that's what we should try to continue to foster, the local usage and local programs. Not to say that someone outside couldn't rent it too, but obviously it's going to be more used by the local community.
My vision of the armory is about the same as everybody else. I want to see it used as much as possible by the public. I want to see, to get more out of it, people come, do dances. Wedding, I even did a wedding in there one time. Basketball, pickleball now. I just want to see what we can in it. I want to see bring more visitors from out of town in Kentucky. If we got more visitors, they're going to spend money here somewhere. I want to see it fixed up and, the best we can be with what we got. I want it to be another jewel that Cliff Forge can show off.
Okay, just like Shorty alluded to, management of the armory has changed twice in the last 2 years. It went from the Armory Committee to the failed attempt of the Armory Authority. And now it's under the umbrella of the Parks and Recreation Group. And their actually in the process right now of evaluating the fee schedules and prioritizing repairs that need to be made to it. But just so everybody knows, the Armory is being utilized quite a bit right now. The Corps Dance doing a tremendous amount of work in the Armory. They're there tonight until way up after, in the dark hours. They have a performance they need to practice in the dark. So that exposes our facilities to folks from New York and all across the country, the contract dancers that they bring in here. They're, Rec League is getting ready to start their basketball in there, I think, maybe next week, practicing. We have a gentleman, athletic trainer, the athletic director of Mountain Gateway Community College does some individual training for young athletes. He utilizes the facility several times a week. We have pickleball played in there several times a week. And about once a month, we host an auction, a 3-day auction for Nice Auctions Company. The way the fee setup is right now, if somebody's using the facility and they're charging and they're making a profit, then they pay a little bit higher usage fee than somebody who is just a citizen using it. And right now, if it's a nonprofit, completely nonprofit, not charging for what they're doing and giving their efforts and services back to the community, we're not charging them for the use of the Armory.
Don't put it down, Chuck.
I
I have a question specifically for you. What is the plan to encourage owners of downtown businesses who use their properties solely for storage to sell their buildings or clean them out to allow businesses to rent that prime retail space?
That's a very good question. That's a question that we've talked about over and over again at council meetings. At the present time, we're really just continuing to work on an individual basis with the owners of those buildings and potential investors for repurposing the buildings in question. I personally met with several individuals over the last month or so interested in investing in downtown Clifton Forge. I've always tried to get them in contact with the owners of the buildings that they're interested in. And at the council level, we have discussed several times over the last year, actually, of developing a vacant building registry requirement that would require the owners of these buildings to review the registration of the building annually and also provide information to their plans as to what they plan on doing for further improvement and repurposing of that building. To do this, you also impose a registration fee annually assessed for that building, and you can potentially attach fines for not registering the building and not moving forward with the plans that they've stated in their previous registrations for the use of the building. And we always hang our hope on that the peer pressure from the building's owners around it, with the current improvements that are being made with the facade grant and different avenues for funding for that, will help bring those folks along with us and improve everything downtown.
Thank you, Chuck. Okay, so building on that, back to the council members. I think it's back to you, Debbie. The Clifton Forge Comprehensive Plan is undergoing revision soon. What would you like to see added to the plan?
Well, the comprehensive plan, I believe, is going to be released in May, and I have not seen it yet. I'd like to wait until the new one comes out, and then we'll see what we can do from there.
If anybody looked at the 2019 comprehensive plan, it is exactly that. It's comprehensive. It covers a whole lot. So more than adding, it's more of expanding upon. Some of the major things that face us are housing in the downtown district, and the strategies and goals for building those areas up to where we need them to be. So I think those are some of the two very important areas. I'm not sure how many of you guys follow what's been going on off of exit 21 in the county. Obviously, we have a Love's there now. There's a new business going on in above Bacova. It's called Green Thumb. It's supposed to employ a lot of people coming up. There's some pad-ready sites that they're developing. If If you're familiar at all with Botetourt County and the main part there, Daleville, I guess, the Greenfield development area, this has the potential to be like a mini Greenfield for our area. If this takes off enough, that people gotta have a place to live and places to shop, and we could almost be like the suburbs of Exit 21, if you will. And I think Chuck's had some really good efforts in trying to get, especially even in the downtown area, developing housing in the upper levels of the businesses, because young professionals these days, that's what they like to live in, being able to walk. I know when I was a young person, I enjoyed living downtown because I could walk to downtown. I could get to things downtown. It's a little tougher. In my older age, I was able to move, up on Madison Street. I don't walk up and down the Heights, but when I was younger, I know I really enjoyed being able to walk to the downtown areas. And I think if everything off that exit takes off, we could really be the beneficiary of that.
I agree with Debbie a lot. I mean, I've seen the 2019 part of that, and we okayed it. I haven't seen the new one or heard of any of what's going in it yet. I'd have to see it before I can make an assumption over it, and I'd like to go over it, see what my opinion would be. Actually, it's got to go through us last. I mean, the planning commission do their job. If it comes to us and we check it over, if it needs tweaking, we'll send it back or we'll tweak it, whatever the process is. Until I see it, I'd like to see a lot of things we had in the other one come true. I think we had a few, but until I see it, I don't know what to tweak or change. But if it needs it, we'll look at it and do it.
Well, I'm like Debbie, I haven't seen the revised comprehensive plan that Dale was talking about. Is in Montgomery County, I think our plan for Clifton Forge is to have the population to support. My wife said, you don't have nothing for the children to do, but you don't have the population. When I graduated in 75, we graduated 136 students. My son graduated 2006. It was 56 from college. That's how much the population has dwindled. That's why a lot of things leave here. If people invest in something, they want the population to be able to support it. My downtown, I have two places downtown, and it's a struggle. If the coffee shop, if we didn't own the building, if we had a mortgage, it would have been shut down. The only thing that's blessed about it is we don't have a mortgage. But you don't have a population for people to invest in this area. I've been in town. Me and my wife used to come through this town and we say, we would never live in this one-horse town. Well, we moved here and we love it. I mean, it's great. We love Clifton Forge. And we just wanted to see it prosper. And one of the big things that I see I just talked to a guy from Albuquerque, New Mexico, who just moved here on Allegheny Street. I talked to people from Minnesota. I talked to people, people in Matavai moved here. They moved here. It's a safe community. And every one of them tell me they moved here because they can let their children play in the streets and not have to worry about them being shot. They don't have to lock stuff up. And I think the town should be promoted as a safe town. It's a very safe town compared to a lot of other people. Very few places in the inner city that you can sit on your front porch after dark. Clifton Forge, I wouldn't be afraid to walk through Clifton Forge at 1 o'clock in the morning. It's just a very safe, great schools, very safe place to live. And a lot of these people are coming here to retire for that very reason, They went to the inner city and made a big pile of money. They come here and can buy a house and fix it up for $100,000 and have a nice place to live and still have a nice nest egg to live on retirement. It's just a win-win situation if you can push the safe community. It's a very safe community.
Okay, just like Dale said, the comprehensive plan is comprehensive. And I will give all of them kudos. None of them have seen or been involved in any of the revision efforts that we're working on with the Planning Commission right now. We have just, at the Planning Commission level, started pulling the 2019 comprehensive plan apart chapter by chapter. We're reviewing 2 to 3 chapters every month for revisions and input and updates. I do know that there's some things that are going to be added to this comprehensive plan that were not a part of that comprehensive plan. And the bulk of that has to do with solar and renewable energy sources and ordinances and zoning requirements for that. But the comprehensive plan is a wide vision of goals that everyone here would like to see attained by the town in a certain time frame. And all that's great. The one thing that I would like to ask that we also compile, and we've talked about this in the Planning Commission meetings, to go along with the comprehensive plan, let's develop an annual or a biannual strategic plan to go with some of those goals in the comprehensive plan to help give us a structured framework to go by to attain the wishes that we want to see the community rise to.
Thank you. I feel like these all build on each other. So I think Dale's next. What new information did you learn by listening to our local business owners discussion at the recent community gatherings? If you could add one business to our town, what would it be?
I'd say the biggest thing I've heard from the gatherings is that local businesses, they want properties around them to be improved around the downtown area. You know, they don't want it to be some detriment to their business they have open. So, I've thought of a lot of different businesses. You know, I've thought of everything from 24-hour gym I've heard people talk about, to indoor pools, or maybe a place for people to hold parties. I hear people a lot of times requesting places to rent for parties and stuff like that. But me personally, I'd love to see a really good sit-down breakfast buffet offered. That's just me personally.
What really surprised me, and it really, really surprised me, was the cooperation that each one of them had. I mean, I thought it would be, being honest, a cutthroat business. Eat my place or don't eat it or whatever, but what surprised me, everybody sends everybody to a different place. That floored me. I never knew that, and I'm glad to see it. I mean, it's a wonderful thing. If I had to add a business, I would like to see, it was mentioned earlier, some shoe store or clothing, something like that, where you don't have to run all the way to Walmart to get something, or like Dale said, Amazon. I don't like shopping Amazon myself. If you order size 8 and it comes in 3 days later. But I like to get mine and get it now, so I'd like to see a shoe store and a clothing store.
Going back to what Dale said and Jeff, the population is not here to support shoe stores, clothing stores, and even if you go to the mall, people ask me, what do you think is going to be extinct in the next 10 years? Malls. Oh, you go to the mall, you walk in any store, walk up to the cash register and pay for it right now. When I was a kid, it was bumper to bumper, elbow to elbow room. It was, especially around from anywhere from the middle of November to Christmas, you could not move in the mall. You go over now, you can get food, and you know, it's just, and that's run-up. That's run-up. You hear me, I haven't been to two of the gatherings. I'm really extremely busy all the time. But a motel, you know, every time I bring a pastor in here or someone to do a concert or something, they have to go to Covington or Lexington to stay, unless they hit an Airbnb. And a couple of the guys, people, they don't want to stay in Airbnbs. They don't want to share a bathroom with someone else in the middle of the night. And so a motel would be a great asset for this community.
Okay, and I agree with everything they're saying as well. We need a hotel badly. I think we all know that. My opinion is, we are a small town of 3,500 people. People don't travel to Clifton Forge to buy their shoes and their socks and their underwear. I mean, it just don't. That's what Walmart's for. But the small boutique shops are quite an attraction to our little town. And something that I think would be very cool in our little town is an outfitter store. We are an outdoor adventure town. We have lots of outdoor adventure around us, whether it's canoeing, we've got hiking in the park, people come here to fish, fly fish, whatever. But if we had basically kind of an outdoor outfitter store, where possibly could be a resource for guides to hook up with folks coming into town. That's something I think would be an asset to our town.
Okay, first part of the question, what did I learn from listening to the business owners at last month's meeting? Acknowledging all of the improvements that we continually need to work on and make in our downtown and in our town. The overwhelming thing that I learned from the business owners is that they all are extremely happy to be here. That they like doing business in this town. They like the clientele that they have. They like the environment that they're doing business in. And I think they appreciate the support that they're receiving. As far as one thing that I would like to see come here, there's so many things that I'd like to see come here, and so many things that I'd like to see happen. Shorty and Dale and some of them were right on point. We do need overnight lodging. Logic study showed that. Tremendous need for that. But in our continued effort toward regionalization and capitalizing on the natural assets that we have, and going hand in hand with the Allegheny Highlands Outdoor Recreation Plan that's just been developed through the cooperation of the Chamber, all the localities in the Highlands, and Roundabout Allegheny Regional Commission, Debbie is right on point. If we can get an outdoor fitters store of some sort in town, and I'm not saying just limited to biking and kayaking and river, but I'm talking about to hiking and exploring and just in general, any outdoor activity, certainly catering though to the kayakers and